Okay, so here we have the design sheet for the Another World Mars project, and you can see that I have got all of my research done: manufacturing, CAD/CAM advantages, 3D printing, FDM printing, and material PLA. I've got my little flowchart here for FDM printing, the process of FDM printing, and I've also illustrated those with my images. And I've made sure that I've got plenty of space, probably almost half the page, to do some sketches and drawings. You don't have to lay out your sheet exactly this way. You could lay it all out across the top and leave space here at the bottom. um, I wouldn't have it at the bottom and work your way up. I would have it um, probably along the top here and just drawing at the bottom, or on the left hand side and the drawing on the right. That's the kind of logical way to order it. But you can put the images wherever you want, but I've obviously tried to link them to my information. So where I'm talking about 3D printing, I've got my 3D printer. Where I'm talking about the material, I've got my PLA, and so on and so forth. That's quite a good example of how your design sheet should look so far. So now we're going to look at the sketching. So first of all, I'm going to begin with sketching some basic sketches of the kind of front kind of profile of my building. So things to bear in mind: first of all, your building is going to be on a base, and the base will be 50 millimeters, 5 centimeters square. So we're going to use grid paper to do this. You can see I've done my design sheet on some grid paper. So we're going to do our drawing to scale, a scale of 1 to 1. So we're going to do the drawing, the final drawing is going to be the same size as the final model. But to begin with, I'm just going to draw at half scale. Each square on the grid is 5 millimeters. So if I was to half 50 millimeters, if I was to half that to fit my grid, then or to fit half size, so that would be 25 millimeters, a half scale. So it would be 5 squares on the grid. So I'm first of all going to draw sketch some ideas in kind of this area here. Then I'm going to develop them a bit further, and then further down here I'm going to come up with some kind of layout that I can copy whilst I am developing or drawing my final design on 123D Design. So first of all, I'm going to pick a line to draw on, so this one, and then I'm going to draw a line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 millimeters. And at this scale, the base will be very thin. So we're looking at the kind of side of the base. And then I'm going to kind of just let my imagination go, but obviously you need to bear in mind the function of your building. So make sure you read your mission sheets carefully. Think about, obviously if it's going to generate energy, what shape it would be. If you're going to generate oxygen, what shape it would be, and so on and so forth. And also have some mood boards if you get stuck, handy to give you some ideas as well. I'm going to be looking at oxygen. So one of the things in oxygen, it needs to bring in the oxygen from the atmosphere of Mars. So I'm going to make a kind of large chimney type structure. In fact, I'll do 2 chimney like structures, one smaller than the other, and one's behind the other, slightly like that. You could have some domes here, maybe some pipes going out as well from the side. There could be a structure further down. Windows, remember you need to consider overhangs. So you wouldn't have a square window. Circles and triangles and diamond shaped windows are also, if I draw a diamond on there, are also fine because there are no overhangs. The 3D printer will print those fine. So there's my first design. I'm quite happy with that. Next one, so draw a line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, a very thin rectangle to represent the base. I'm going to carry on my idea of this chimney, but I'm going to make it a lot wider this time. And this time we're going to have kind of a rounded structure coming off the side. I'm going to have some kind of pipes coming off towards me there, maybe a pipe going off the side and a pipe going off that side, and again maybe some details, some windows, maybe a doorway. Doorways can be domed, the 3D printer will print a domed doorway, that's fine. Maybe some kind of aerial kind of pipe structures on top as well, just to add a little bit of detail. And there you go. So basically you need to just keep going until you've got around about 10 ideas we're looking for, about 10 ideas. Remember also, you need to use a loft. Now if you practice using 123D design, you will know what a loft is. It's a kind of a structure created through lofting through shapes in 123D design. So I've got these quite organic shape, these chimneys, so that will allow me to do a loft. If I kept it all square and rectangular, I'm not going to give myself an opportunity to have a go at doing a loft. Quite like those. I'm just going to carry on down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the height of the maximum height, probably I would say maximum height, maybe so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just over 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So around 6 squares, I would say, would be a maximum height. I'm doing these structures are quite tall, but you might decide to do a structure that's quite short. It's completely up to you. Obviously, we're only drawing these from the kind of front view, so you'd have to consider other shapes on there as well. But this is just to get us thinking about shape, thinking about structure. So I'm going to go for quite a large dome structure this time, and there's going to be a sphere in front of it there, and then there's going to be kind of a rectangular building here as well, and there's going to be a sphere there on there as well. Why not? Quite like that shape. Next one. So I'm doing these quite quickly, quite roughly. I'm going to go for a more triangular, kind of a triangular shape there. Triangle, and there's a building in front of that as well. Row windows. I'm going to keep going this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Just draw my base in there as well. So maximum 6 square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maximum 6 squares height. This structure is going to be quite an odd structure. I'm going to put 3 kind of chimneys together. There. Gee, almost like a tree almost. Then I'm going to put quite a rectangular building there, and a dome here. Now obviously you might be able to explain what each part of your building does. Hopefully you will. I'm drawing this quite quickly. Quite like that. Remember, overhangs, so you shouldn't have anything that overhangs more than 45 degrees. So if I had a structure that looked something like this, that is fine. I think 45 degrees is okay, but it's pushing it a little bit. So that's an overhang, but the printer will print it thin enough, each layer thin enough to be able to cope with that. That's fine. Little doorway there. Obviously think about the scale of your doorways. Obviously that's a doorway a person with a very small, quite large building. To think about windows and things and how big you draw them. I've got 8 now. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to do them down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm planning out where I'm drawing, thinking very carefully about where I'm going to draw. So a couple more now. I'm going to do quite a relatively low rise building now. As far as parts go, don't draw things too thin. That's about as thin as I would go. The printer will print that, but if you go too thin, the printer, because it's so thin, will struggle to print that in layers. So that's quite a small one. And then finally, I'm going to go for this kind of shark fin kind of shape. You might have some mood boards to help you. Make sure they're out in front of you while you're drawing. Always good to be inspired. That's going to be a gap as well. I'm going to have a gap there, so this thing is kind of like 2 kind of legs coming down. Okay, so I've got my 10 ideas. You could do more, but I think 10's probably about right. And then just to make those pop out from the page, I am going to very quickly outline them, and carefully as well, because they're quite small drawings. They're not kind of large 3-dimensional drawings, so I'm going to be quite careful with this, and I'm going to go around them, and this will kind of highlight where there are gaps through, so be careful around the area. So if I do it too rough, I am being rough. You can see I'm not taking too much time to do this, but I am making sure that I don't go too far inside the shape. So now you can see I've finished off the outlining there. So now what we want to do is to start to think about these structures in 3D. You're not going to make all of them, obviously you're just going to choose one final one, but we are going to experiment first of all with a few of these shapes. So first of all, we're going to do a little bit of both, a bit of oblique. So some of these shapes don't really suit that. Well, they may do, but we'll try. We'll have a look at some of them. We'll try. So this shape here, it's kind of distorted diamond shape. I'm going to draw that a little bit bigger. So just bigger up here, and then using the technique, oblique technique, we're going to project a line at 45 degrees. You can use the squares on the grid to track out 45 degrees. Getting a bit close to the top of the page, and that shape was probably going to look something like that. And the structures coming off there. There'll be the structures coming off there as well, so I can draw those in if I wanted to. So just have a go at, you don't have to draw the base, I'm just trying to get some idea of what these structures look like in 3 dimensions. So use the techniques that you've learnt during the basic sketching course. Could draw the windows in as well. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. Something like that. So we get a much better, clear idea of what that shape's going to look like. The other one I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to do the shark kind of fin. I want to leave space to do another one here. There we go. I haven't left enough space to do that, but that's okay. So that will just tuck underneath that one, or if I push it around like that, there we go. That's okay. So from the 2D shape, we've projected a line at 45 degrees, and then I've kind of copied that curved line, and then I'm going to outline it as well. And remember, outlining goes all the way around the outside of the object, not inside. The lines inside stay the same. So we get a bit of an idea of what that could look like. Maybe have a go at some of these smaller structures as well. So we've got some curved kind of structures here. Now obviously by drawing these in oblique, they are quite flat. Let's have a go one of these structures, the kind of pyramid structures. So they are quite flat. So in a minute we're going to have a go at doing some of these isometric as well. So we kind of start to build up some idea of these shapes. Okay, so once you've had a go at some oblique, you can have a go at a couple more maybe. You can have a go at some isometric. Now, isometric is obviously a little bit trickier. So with the isometric shapes, we're going to start on a point on the grid, and you have to draw out a line at 30 degrees. Now, you can use a set square for this, or you can just have a go. So if you've got a set square handy, just check those lines are 30 degrees. And I'm going to draw a crate, and then inside the crate, okay, so I've overlapped those, but that's okay, that's fine. Inside the crate I want to draw one of these dome shapes. Now if you imagine the dome went to the centre of the crate, all I'm going to do is just draw that shape there and then curve around the bottom, and you kind of create this dome. So we do sketch the outside to this, almost to the centre of where the top of the crate would be, and you can see that my lines are quite sketchy here. I'm just trying to get that curved bit in. It's this idea that I'm looking at here. For a sphere, obviously if I wanted a sphere there, then it would just be a circle there, and then obviously there's this structure here which I'm going to do a cylinder. So all I've done is draw an ellipse there and just drawn a straight line down. So you can see that I've started to build up this little bank of ideas and 3D shapes, 3D models. This tree ideas is quite complex. I'm going to have a go at that. So if I draw the top of the box first, it would probably be a good idea if I did that over there. Draw the top of the box of my crate, and then I'm going to have a go drawing this. So the bottom would be curved, and then I'm going to go out. It's not going to be exactly what I want, but close. And there's the tubes, and then my outline again. You can see how quickly I've done that. On three-dimensional shapes like this, you could, or if you wanted to with your pen, draw contours, which kind of gives you a clearer idea that the shapes are three-dimensional and they're curved and they're organic. So if you draw contour lines, I call them, you get a better idea. So last one, have a go at these little dome shapes here, and then I'm going to leave some space here at the bottom for an actual kind of final drawing. So these dome shapes here, again, looks something like that. It's almost like a rounded triangle, like a guitar pick kind of shape. Contours again. Anything else? I quite like these chimney ideas. I'm going to have a go at one of those. So very quickly drawing crates. Very quickly drawing that kind of, almost like a trophy, World Cup trophy kind of shape. Try some, again, some contours maybe. So there isn't really any right or wrong answer. It's just having a go and creating some shapes and seeing what you like. Picking some objects out that you like the look of and then trying to draw them in 3D. And then obviously you could try and incorporate these into your final model. So now I'm going to have a go at drawing the final model. So down here, this is just going to be drawn as a front view. And then we're also going to have a view from above as well, a plan view. Now I haven't got enough space to draw the plan view above. You can draw it next to that view. That's okay. But ideally we'd have it above. I haven't got myself enough space there, so I'm just going to do that view next to it now. This time this is going to be drawn to scale, so I need to just be careful about where I start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 50 millimeters. Looks like I'm probably going to have room for a couple of those, and it's going to be a millimeter thick. So we're going to have a go at. Actually, I'm going to have a go at drawing some side views here. I'm not going to do the plan view for now. Just going to do the side views, and then we'll go from there. That's fine. So I quite like my idea of this structure here. So I'm going to draw that in. I'm not going to draw it in 3D. It's not three-dimensional. I'm just going to draw. I probably would see the tops there. Okay. There's my structure coming out, and if I look at my kind of little structure there I had, there's some buildings here. I'm going to tuck that building in behind. So actually that's going to be either 2 buildings or 1 building going all the way across. And then I've got these kind of little aerial kind of structures there as well, and a little dome as well, which is going to be there in front. So there's my first one. That's drawn, that's drawn to scale, so that'd be the size of the object that the object would print. So second idea, 5. Okay. Second idea, I do like this shape. I didn't have a go drawing it in 3D, but I do like that shape there. So remember, these shapes can't overhang too much. I've got these kind of tree-like structures. They might be cones. So you have to think about the shapes in 3 dimensions. I'm doing this quite quickly. You can take a bit more time. See the top of the chimney, a bit more time with this. And then the last one, okay. The last one I'm going to go for is this shape. Actually that's the shark fin shape, which I've drawn in 3D like that. We've got these kind of dome like structures there as well. And there's one there. I did actually say that was a hole, didn't I? There was a gap, so I'll just outline that and signify that. And then what I'm going to do is add some details. Another structure there, another structure there. Okay, so I'm going to outline those as well. Okay, so I've added some smaller drawings here just to finish the sheet off, and I've also started to annotate my ideas. Now when you annotate, please use a ruler to draw your lines. I've done one with a little dot on the end just to indicate what I'm pointing at, and I'm just explained how the buildings work, so you just have a little bit of a think about how the building will take in the atmosphere and create oxygen. I've titled mine Oxygen Up Here, so you might have energy or food or housing. Add your title, and sheet when you finish sketching should end up looking something like this. And really what you want to end up with are a choice of 2 or 3 ideas, final ideas at the bottom of the page here, and some idea of the 3D forms that you're going to use to create your Mars building. And there you go. In the next video I'm going to show you just how to finish off the page using some of the techniques, some backgrounds and some shading and tone as well.